The universe doesn't come with an instruction manual. It's vast, ancient, and full of surprises. Some beautiful, some terrifying, and some downright bizarre. Every star, every planet, every strange phenomenon out there tells a story we're only just beginning to understand. Tonight, we'll uncover some of the strangest and most fascinating facts about space secrets that will forever change the way you look at the cosmos. Buckle up, because the universe is weirder than you think. Neptune's winds are the fastest in the solar system. These winds can reach speeds of up to 2,400 kilometers per hour or 1,500 miles per hour, which is faster than the speed of sound on Earth. We can't see the majority of the universe. About 95% of the universe is made up of dark matter and dark energy, which are invisible and cannot be directly observed. Scientists only infer their existence from their gravitational effects on visible matter. The smell of space is reportedly like seared steak or hot metal. Astronauts returning from spacewalks have reported a distinct odor on their suits. The smell is thought to come from polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which are found in burning fossil fuels, charcoal, and food. The first American food eaten on the moon was beef and vegetables. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin ate beef and vegetables, along with fruit strips and pineapple grapefruit juice, for their first meal on the lunar surface. The sun is actually white, not yellow. From space, the sun appears white. It looks yellow to us on Earth because our atmosphere scatters the blue and violet light more effectively, leaving the remaining colors to appear yellowish. There's a planet where it rains glass sideways, on exoplanet HD 189733b. Scientists have detected silicate particles in its atmosphere. Combined with winds of up to 8,700 kilometers per h or 5,400 miles per hour, this would create a storm of horizontal razor-sharp glass rain. The Apollo astronauts' spacesuits were made by a bra manufacturer. The company Playtex, known for making bras and girdles, won the contract to design and build the spacesuits for the Apollo missions because of their expertise in creating flexible garments. The star Earendel is the most distant individual star ever seen, detected by the James Webb Space Telescope. Its light has taken 12.9 billion years to reach us. We can see it only because its light was magnified by a massive galaxy cluster, a phenomenon called gravitational lensing. Jupiter's moon Io has over 400 active volcanoes. Io is the most geologically active object in the solar system. Its volcanic activity is a result of intense tidal heating from Jupiter's immense gravity. The universe could end in a big rip. One theory of the universe's fate is that dark energy could become so strong it would overcome gravity, tearing apart galaxies, stars, planets, and eventually atoms themselves. Mars has blue sunsets, while its sky is a pale pinkish red during the day. The sunsets on Mars can appear blue. The fine dust in the Martian atmosphere scatters red light forward, so the light directly from the setting sun appears more blue. The largest known galaxy is 100 times wider than the Milky Way. IC 1101 is a supergiant elliptical galaxy that is over 5.5 million light-years in diameter. It's so large that our Milky Way could fit inside it many times over. Astronauts grow taller in space. In the microgravity environment, the cartilage discs between the vertebrae in the spine expand. Astronauts can gain up to 3% of their height, but this is lost upon returning to Earth. The first animal in orbit was a dog named Laika. The Soviet Union launched Laika aboard the Sputnik 2 spacecraft in 1957. Sadly, it was a one-way trip, as the technology for a return journey had not yet been developed. There is an intergalactic speed limit, the speed of light in a vacuum, approximately 299,792 kilometers per second, or 186,282 miles per second, is the ultimate speed limit in the universe. Nothing with mass can reach it. The constellation Ophiuchus is the 13th zodiac sign. The sun actually passes through the constellation of Ophiuchus after Scorpius and before Sagittarius. Ancient astrologers chose to stick with 12 signs to divide the year neatly. The largest body of water in the universe is a cloud of water vapor located around a quasar 12 billion light-years away. This massive reservoir of water vapor contains at least 140 trillion times the amount of water in all of Earth's oceans. There's a zombie star that survived a supernova. A white dwarf star in a binary system siphoned off so much matter from its companion that it exploded, but it somehow managed to survive the blast. Scientists nicknamed it a zombie star. The Earth is not a perfect sphere. Due to its rotation, the Earth bulges at the equator and is slightly flattened at the poles, making it an oblate spheroid. The International Space Station, or ISS, travels at 28,000 kilometers per h, or 17,500 miles per hour. The ISS orbits the Earth approximately every 90 minutes. This means the astronauts on board see 16 sunrises and sunsets every day. The black hole's gravity is so strong that not even light can escape. The boundary beyond which escape is impossible is called the event horizon. Once anything crosses this boundary, it is pulled into the singularity at the center. The moon has moonquakes. These are caused by the tidal stresses of Earth's gravity and the cooling of the moon's interior. They are much weaker than earthquakes, but can last for much longer. Halley's Comet will next be visible from Earth in 2061. This famous comet is a periodic comet and returns to Earth's vicinity about every 75 years. It was last seen in our skies in 1986. The word astronaut comes from Greek words meaning star sailor. Astro means star and naut means sailor. Similarly, a cosmonaut, the Russian equivalent, means cosmos sailor. The star Betelgeuse could go supernova at any time. This red supergiant in the constellation Orion is nearing the end of its life. When it explodes, it will be visible from Earth even during the daytime. Pluto has a heart on its surface. Images from the New Horizons spacecraft revealed a large heart-shaped glacier made of nitrogen and methane ice. It's officially named Tumbao Regio. The light from the Andromeda Galaxy has taken 2.5 million years to reach us. When you look at the Andromeda Galaxy, the light you see left that galaxy when early human ancestors were roaming the Earth. You are literally looking into the past. The Earth has a second, mini-moon, objects known as quasi-satellites. Like the asteroid Kamosipo-Lawa, orbit the Sun but stay close to Earth. They are not true moons, but they follow a complex orbital path around our planet. The first black hole ever discovered is named Cygnus X1. It was identified in the 1960s through its X-ray emissions, which are generated as it pulls matter from a nearby companion star. A super-Earth is a planet larger than Earth, but smaller than Neptune. These exoplanets are common in our galaxy, but our solar system doesn't have one. They can be rocky, gaseous, or a combination of both. The coldest known place in the universe is the Boomerang Nebula, located 5,000 light-years away. The Boomerang Nebula has a temperature of -272 degrees Celsius, or -458 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just 1 degree Celsius above absolute zero. The Sun loses about 4 million tons of mass every second. This mass is converted into energy through nuclear fusion in its core, which is what makes the Sun shine. This is a tiny fraction of its total mass. The pillars of creation are incubators for new stars. These columns of interstellar gas and dust in the Eagle Nebula are slowly being eroded by the intense radiation from a nearby cluster of young, massive stars. There are rogue planets that wander through space without a star. These planets were likely ejected from their original solar systems. The Milky Way may contain billions or even trillions of these free-floating worlds. The first American woman in space was Sally Ride. She flew aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1983. She remains the youngest American astronaut to have traveled to space, having done so at the age of 32. The moon's gravity creates the Earth's ocean tides. The gravitational pull of the moon causes the water in the Earth's oceans to bulge out on the side closest to the moon and the side farthest from the moon. Enceladus, a moon of Saturn, has geysers that spew water ice into space. The Cassini spacecraft found these plumes contain water, ice particles, salt, and organic compounds, making Enceladus a prime candidate for harboring extraterrestrial life. The WOW signal was a strong radio signal detected in 1977 that may have been extraterrestrial. It bore the expected hallmarks of a potential non-terrestrial origin, but it was never detected again. An astronomer wrote "wow" on the data printout, giving the signal its name. The center of the Milky Way may smell like raspberries and rum. This is due to the presence of a chemical called ethyl formate. This compound gives raspberries their flavor and is also known to smell of rum. The universe is expanding at an accelerating rate. Observations of distant supernovae revealed that the expansion is speeding up. This acceleration is attributed to a mysterious force called dark energy. The largest asteroid in the solar system, Ceres, is also a dwarf planet. Located in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Ceres is about 940 kilometers or 585 miles in diameter. The first selfie in space was taken by Buzz Aldrin in 1966. During the Gemini 12 mission, Aldrin turned a camera on himself while conducting a spacewalk, capturing the first ever space selfie with the Earth as a backdrop. Jupiter has faint rings. Unlike Saturn's prominent ice rings, Jupiter's rings are very faint and are composed mostly of dust kicked up from its inner moons. Mars has two tiny moons named Phobos and Deimos. These moons are likely captured asteroids and are shaped like potatoes. Their names mean fear and dread in Greek. The term black hole was coined in 1967. Physicist John Archibald Wheeler is credited with coining the term. Before that, they were referred to as gravitationally completely collapsed objects. Some stars, called pulsars, spin hundreds of times per second. Pulsars are highly magnetized, rotating neutron stars that emit beams of electromagnetic radiation. We observe a pulse signal as these beams sweep past Earth. The Apollo 10 mission was a dress rehearsal for the moon landing. The crew flew the lunar module, nicknamed Snoopy, to within 9 miles of the moon's surface before returning to the command module, Charlie Brown. The first privately funded crewed spaceflight was Spaceship One in 2004. Designed by Burt Rutan and financed by Paul Allen, Spaceship One won the $10 million Ansari X Prize for reaching space twice within 2 weeks. The Great White Spot is a massive storm that erupts on Saturn every 30 years. The 2010 to 2011 storm was so large it encircled the entire planet. The persistent remnants of these storms are sometimes called the Roaring 40. The farthest we can see into the universe is the cosmic microwave background. This faint glow of radiation is the leftover heat from the Big Bang. It is the earliest light we can detect, from about 380,000 years after the universe began. The first living creatures intentionally sent to space and returned alive were fruit flies. In 1947, the US launched fruit flies aboard a V-2 rocket to study the effects of radiation exposure at high altitudes. The flies were recovered alive. The planet Uranus was originally named George's star. Its discoverer, William Herschel, wanted to name it Georgium Sidus after his patron, King George III. The name Uranus from Greek mythology was later adopted. There are superpuff planets with the density of cotton candy. Exoplanets, like Kepler-51b, C, and D, are Jupiter-sized, but have less than 1% of Jupiter's mass. Their extremely low density is a mystery to astronomers. The largest structure in the universe is the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall. It's a massive galactic filament, a vast cluster of galaxies bound by gravity that measures approximately 10 billion light-years across. The Sun rotates faster at its equator than at its poles. Because it's a ball of gas, it experiences differential rotation. The equator takes about 25 days to rotate, while the poles take about 35 days. The Earth's magnetic field protects us from the solar wind. This stream of charged particles from the Sun would otherwise strip away our atmosphere, including the ozone layer. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth. There are an estimated 100 to 400 billion stars in our galaxy alone, and there are estimated to be over 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. The Great Attractor is a gravitational anomaly pulling our galaxy towards it. Located about 220 million light-years away, the Great Attractor is a region of space with a massive concentration of mass equivalent to tens of thousands of galaxies. The first meal eaten in space was meat paste in a tube. Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin, the first human in space in 1961, consumed beef and liver paste from a tube, followed by a dessert of applesauce. The James Webb Space Telescope's mirror is coated in gold. A microscopically thin layer of gold coats the telescope's 18 mirrors because gold is highly reflective of infrared light, which the telescope is designed to observe. The moon is in synchronous rotation with Earth. This means it rotates on its axis at the same rate that it revolves around the Earth. As a result, we always see the same face of the moon. The asteroid that killed the dinosaurs created a crater 180 kilometers or 110 miles wide. The Chicxulub crater is buried underneath the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact led to a mass extinction that wiped out about 75% of species on Earth. The first song played in space was Jingle Bells. In 1965, astronauts Wally Schirra and Tom Stafford on Gemini 6 played a prank on Mission Control, playing the song on a smuggled harmonica and sleigh bells. The space roar is an unexplained loud radio signal from deep space. Detected in 2006, this mysterious radio noise is about 6 times louder than expected cosmic background noise. Its origin remains a mystery. Jupiter's moon Europa may have a subsurface ocean with more water than Earth. Evidence suggests a salty liquid water ocean exists beneath Europa's icy crust. This ocean could potentially harbor life. The first color photo of Earth from space was taken in 1967. The Dodge satellite captured the first full discolor image of our planet, dating the more famous blue marble photo from Apollo 17. The star Mira has a tail 13 light-years long. This old dying star is speeding through our galaxy so fast that it's shedding a massive tail of gas and dust behind it, visible only in ultraviolet light. The ISS has a permanent population of microbes. Just like any human habitat, the International Space Station has its own unique microbiome, consisting of bacteria and fungi that live on surfaces and on the astronauts. Pluto's atmosphere can freeze and fall to the surface as snow because of its highly elliptical orbit. When Pluto gets farther from the Sun, its thin nitrogen atmosphere can collapse onto the surface before reforming as Pluto moves closer again. Astronauts use a lot of Velcro. In microgravity, simple tasks like putting down a tool are impossible. Patches of Velcro are placed all over the station and on equipment to hold items in place. The North Star, Polaris, won't always be the North Star due to a wobble in Earth's axis called precession. Our pole star changes over a 26,000-year cycle. In about 13,000 years, the star Vega will be the North Star. The sundog is a bright spot that can appear next to the sun, also called a mock sun or parhelion. It's an atmospheric optical phenomenon caused by the refraction of sunlight by ice crystals in the atmosphere. The first hotel in space is planned to open before 2030. Companies like Orbital Assembly Corporation are developing concepts for space stations with tourist accommodations, offering low-gravity experiences. Saturn's moon Titan has a thick atmosphere and liquid methane lakes. Titan is the only moon in our solar system with a dense atmosphere and the only celestial body besides Earth with clear evidence of stable bodies of surface liquid. The word comet comes from a Greek word meaning long-haired. Ancient observers thought comets looked like stars with long flowing hair, which we now know is the comet's tail of dust and gas. The first space tourist was Dennis Tito in 2001. The American millionaire paid a reported $20 million to spend nearly 8 days aboard the International Space Station. The pale blue dot is a famous photograph of Earth taken by Voyager 1. In 1990, at the request of Carl Sagan, Voyager 1 took a photo of Earth from 6 billion kilometers or 3.7 billion miles away, showing our planet as a tiny speck of light. Mercury has a surprisingly strong magnetic field for its size. Despite its small size and slow rotation, Mercury has a global magnetic field, though it is only about 1% as strong as Earth's. Astronauts' bones and muscles weaken in space. Without the constant pull of gravity, bone and muscle mass deteriorates. Astronauts must exercise for about 2 hours every day on the ISS to mitigate these effects. The Oumuamua object was the first observed interstellar visitor. Detected in 2017, this cigar-shaped object passed through our solar system on a trajectory that indicated it came from another star system. The first image of a black hole was captured in 2019. The Event Horizon Telescope produced the first ever direct visual evidence of a supermassive black hole and its shadow in the center of galaxy M87. There is a giant void in space that is unusually empty of galaxies. The Boötes void, also called the Great Nothing, is a roughly spherical region of space about 330 million light-years in diameter that contains very few galaxies. The first successful Mars landing was by the Viking 1 lander in 1976. It was the first spacecraft to successfully land on Mars and complete its mission, sending back the first images from the Martian surface. The Apollo 1 crew tragically died in a fire on the launch pad. During a rehearsal in 1967, a fire broke out in the command module, killing astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee. the disaster led to major safety improvements. The Sun will eventually become a white dwarf. In about 5 billion years, after exhausting its fuel, the Sun will expand into a red giant before collapsing into a dense, hot white dwarf star about the size of Earth. Its cosmic rays are not rays, but high-energy particles. These particles, mostly protons and atomic nuclei, travel through space at nearly the speed of light. Their origins are thought to be from supernovae and other violent cosmic events. The first object to reach the surface of the Moon was the Soviet Luna 2 spacecraft. It intentionally crash-landed on the Moon in 1959, becoming the first human-made object to make contact with another celestial body. A solar flare can release the energy of millions of hydrogen bombs. These sudden, intense bursts of radiation are caused by the release of magnetic energy from the Sun's surface. The three-body problem is a famous puzzle in physics. It describes the problem of predicting the movements of three celestial objects that are gravitationally interacting. There is no general closed-form solution. Astronauts have to relearn how to walk after long space missions. After months in microgravity, their sense of balance and coordination is disrupted. They undergo physical therapy to adapt back to Earth's gravity. The constellation Crux, or the Southern Cross, is the smallest of the 88 modern constellations. Despite its small size, it is one of the most distinctive constellations and is featured on the flags of several Southern Hemisphere countries. A brown dwarf is a failed star. These objects are more massive than planets, but not massive enough to sustain the nuclear fusion of hydrogen in their cores, which defines a star. The first person to walk in space was Alexei Leonov. The Soviet cosmonaut conducted a 12-minute spacewalk in 1965. His spacesuit inflated in the vacuum, making it very difficult for him to get back into the spacecraft. The Earth is traveling through space at about 2.1 million kilometers per h, or 1.3 million miles per hour. This speed is relative to the cosmic microwave background radiation and is a combination of Earth's rotation, its orbit around the Sun, and the galaxy's motion. The most powerful gamma-ray bursts release more energy in 10 seconds than the Sun will in its lifetime. These incredibly energetic explosions are the most luminous events known to occur in the universe and are thought to be associated with supernovae or merging neutron stars. The smell of the Moon is said to be like spent gunpowder. Apollo astronauts reported that lunar dust brought into the module had a sharp, acrid smell similar to spent gunpowder or fireplace ashes. The largest moon in the solar system is Jupiter's moon Ganymede. It is larger than the planet Mercury and is the only moon known to have its own internally generated magnetic field. The first woman to command the International Space Station was Peggy Whitson. She took command in 2008 during Expedition 16. She also holds the record for the most cumulative time spent in space by an American astronaut. The closest star system to us is Alpha Centauri, located about 4.37 light-years away. This system consists of three stars, Alpha Centauri A, Alpha Centauri B, and the closest star to the Sun, Proxima Centauri. The Space Pen was privately developed to write in zero gravity. Unlike regular pens that rely on gravity, the Fisher Space Pen uses a pressurized ink cartridge. It was not, as myth suggests, a multi-million-dollar NASA project. The star Rho Cassiope is so unstable, it shed 10,000 Earths worth of material in one go. This yellow hypergiant star is very unstable, and in 2000, it had a massive outburst. The light from this star took about 3,400 years to reach us. Sprites are a form of upper atmospheric lightning. Sprites are large-scale electrical discharges that occur high above thunderstorm clouds, producing a variety of visual shapes like jellyfish or columns. The first American to orbit the Earth was John Glenn. In 1962, aboard the Friendship 7 capsule, he circled the globe 3 times. He later returned to space in 1998 at age 77. The geocorona is a halo of hydrogen gas around Earth that extends past the Moon. This tenuous outermost layer of Earth's atmosphere extends to a distance of about 630,000 kilometers or 390,000 miles. The Hand of God is a pulsar wind nebula. A NASA X-ray image of the nebula shows a structure that looks remarkably like a giant hand reaching through space, formed by particles from a spinning neutron star. The Apollo guidance computer had less processing power than a modern calculator. This revolutionary computer, which guided astronauts to the Moon, had a clock speed of about 2 megahertz and about 2 kilobytes of RAM. Mars once had a much thicker atmosphere and liquid water. Evidence suggests that billions of years ago, Mars was a warmer, wetter planet with rivers and lakes. It lost most of its atmosphere to space over time. Gravity assist is a technique to accelerate spacecraft without fuel. By flying close to a planet, a spacecraft can use the planet's gravity and orbital motion to slingshot itself to a higher speed. The first successful Venus probe was NASA's Mariner 2 in 1962. It flew by the planet and confirmed that Venus has a very hot surface and a dense carbon dioxide atmosphere. The Lagrange points are positions where the gravity of two large bodies balance. An object placed at one of these 5 points will remain stable relative to the two bodies. The James Webb Space Telescope is positioned at the UL-2 point. The oldest known star is nicknamed the Methuselah star. HD 140283 is estimated to be around 14.5 billion years old, which initially seemed older than the universe itself. Its age has since been refined to be consistent with the age of the universe. The temperature in space can vary by hundreds of degrees. In direct sunlight, an object can get hotter than 120 degrees Celsius, or 250 degrees Fahrenheit, while in shadow, it can plummet to below -150 degrees Celsius, or -238 degrees Fahrenheit. A light year is a measure of distance, not time. It is the distance that light travels in one Earth year, which is about 9.46 trillion kilometers or 5.88 trillion miles. The first African American in space was Guion Bluford. He flew aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger on mission STS-8 in 1983 as a mission specialist. The Hubble Deep Field image revealed thousands of galaxies in a tiny patch of sky. In 1995, the Hubble Space Telescope stared at a seemingly empty spot for 10 consecutive days, showing over 3,000 galaxies in an area the size of a grain of sand held at arm's length. The Kessler syndrome is a theoretical scenario of runaway space debris. It posits that if the density of objects in low Earth orbit becomes high enough, a single collision could set off a cascading chain reaction of more collisions. The planet Mercury is shrinking. As its iron core cools and solidifies, the planet contracts. This process has caused the crust to wrinkle, forming large cliffs on its surface. The auroras are caused by particles from the sun colliding with Earth's atmosphere. These spectacular light shows are created when charged particles from the solar wind are funneled by Earth's magnetic field into the upper atmosphere. There is a hexagonal storm at Saturn's North Pole. The sides of this bizarre, six-sided jet stream are each longer than the diameter of Earth. The storm has been raging for decades, if not centuries. The first crew to live on the ISS arrived in November 2000, Expedition 1. Consisting of an American astronaut and 2 Russian cosmonauts, began the era of continuous human presence in space. The most volcanically active body in the solar system is a moon, not a planet. Jupiter's moon Io has hundreds of volcanoes, some of which spew sulfurous plumes hundreds of kilometers high. The first photograph of another planet was of Mars. In 1965, the Mariner 4 spacecraft flew by Mars and took 21 close-up pictures, revealing a cratered surface. A globular cluster is a dense spherical collection of very old stars. These clusters contain hundreds of thousands to millions of stars and are found orbiting in the halo of most galaxies, including our own. The termination shock is where the solar wind dramatically slows down. This is the boundary where the stream of charged particles from the sun is slowed by pressure from the interstellar medium. The first animals to orbit the moon and return safely were 2 tortoises. In 1968, the Soviet Zond 5 mission sent 2 steppe tortoises, along with mealworms and plants, on a flight around the moon. The cosmic web is the large-scale structure of the universe. Galaxies are not distributed randomly, but are arranged in a vast web-like structure of filaments and clusters, separated by enormous voids. The last person to walk on the moon was Eugene Cernan in 1972. As commander of the Apollo 17 mission, he was the final astronaut to leave his footprints on the lunar surface. The Roche limit is the distance where a planet's gravity will tear a moon apart. If a moon or other object gets too close to a massive body, the tidal forces will be stronger than the object's own gravity, ripping it apart and often forming rings. The Arecibo message was a radio signal sent towards a distant star cluster. In 1974, the Arecibo radio telescope broadcast a pictorial message towards the star cluster M13, 25,000 light-years away. It depicted basic information about humanity. Sunspots are cooler, darker areas on the sun's surface. These temporary phenomena are caused by concentrations of magnetic fields that inhibit heat flow. They are still extremely hot, but appear dark in contrast. The first controlled landing on another planet was on Venus. In 1970, the Soviet Venera 7 probe became the first spacecraft to soft land on another planet and transmit data from the surface. The Goldilocks zone is the habitable zone around a star. This is the orbital region where the temperature is just right for liquid water to exist on the surface of a planet. The Barnard star has the fastest proper motion of any star. It moves across our sky at a rate of 10.3 arcseconds per year. In about 150 years, it will have moved the apparent diameter of the full moon. The first wedding, involving someone in space, took place in 2003. Russian cosmonaut Yuri Malenchenko married Ekaterina Dmitrieva while he was aboard the ISS, and she was in Texas. He attended via video link. The gravitational constant, or G, is one of the hardest physical constants to measure. Despite being one of the first constants discovered, its value is still only known to about 4 significant digits due to the extreme weakness of gravity. The first Canadian in space was Marc Garneau. He flew aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger on mission STS-40-1G in 1984. Spaghettification is the term for being stretched apart by a black hole. As an object approaches a black hole, the intense gravitational pull on the closer part is much stronger than the pull on the farther part, stretching the object into a long, thin shape. The Tully-Fisher relation is a way to measure the distance to spiral galaxies. It's an empirical relationship between the brightness of a spiral galaxy and its rotational speed. By measuring the rotation, astronomers can determine its distance. Astronauts' sense of taste changes in space. In microgravity, fluids shift upwards, causing congestion similar to a head cold. This dulls the sense of smell and taste. So many astronauts prefer spicier foods. Triton, Neptune's largest moon, orbits the planet backwards. This retrograde orbit suggests that Triton is a captured object from the Kuiper belt. Its orbit is slowly decaying, and it will eventually be torn apart by Neptune's gravity. The heliosphere is a giant magnetic bubble created by the sun. This bubble, which contains the entire solar system, is formed by the solar wind and protects us from many high-energy galactic cosmic rays. The first space station was the Soviet Salyut 1. It was launched in 1971. Its first crew tragically died during their return to Earth due to a capsule depressurization. There may have been a fifth giant planet in our early solar system. Some models suggest that a fifth gas giant existed, but was ejected into interstellar space after a close encounter with Jupiter. The Chandrasekhar limit is the maximum mass of a stable white dwarf star. This limit is approximately 1.4 times the mass of the Sun. A white dwarf that exceeds this mass will collapse and explode as a supernova. The zodiacal light is a faint glow in the night sky caused by space dust. It's caused by sunlight scattering off dust particles in the plane of the solar system. It is best seen after sunset in spring and before sunrise in autumn. The overview effect is a cognitive shift reported by some astronauts. Seeing the Earth from space, a tiny fragile ball of life hanging in the void, can provoke a profound sense of awe and responsibility for our planet. The Parker Solar Probe is the fastest human-made object. On its mission to touch the Sun, the probe has reached speeds of over 635,000 kilometers per h, or 394,000 miles per hour relative to the Sun. The first artificial satellite was Sputnik 1, launched by the Soviet Union on October 4, 1957. The beach ball-sized satellite officially kicked off the space race. The Fermi paradox questions the lack of evidence for extraterrestrial life. Given the high probability of Earth-like planets, the paradox, named after physicist Enrico Fermi, asks, if life is so likely, where is everybody? The space-to-space rescue mission was prepared for the Skylab 3 crew. During the mission in 1973, the command module developed a thruster problem. NASA prepared a rescue rocket, but the original crew returned safely. Earth's surface can produce a gamma-ray glow from thunderstorms. Thunderstorms can act as natural particle accelerators, producing terrestrial gamma-ray flashes, or TGFs, that are detectable by satellites. The Yarkovsky effect is a subtle force that can alter an asteroid's orbit. This force is caused by an asteroid absorbing sunlight and re-radiating it as heat, which creates a tiny amount of thrust that can change its path over millions of years. The last mission of the Space Shuttle program was STS-135 in 2011. The Space Shuttle Atlantis flew the final mission, delivering supplies to the ISS and marking the end of the 30-year shuttle era. The Horsehead Nebula is a dark cloud of dust shaped like a horse's head. Located in the constellation Orion, it is a cloud of cold, dark dust and gas silhouetted against a bright emission nebula behind it. A Lyman alpha blob is a huge concentration of hydrogen gas in the early universe. These enormous structures can be hundreds of thousands of light years across and are thought to be the precursors to modern galaxies. The first golf shot on the moon was by Alan Shepard, and during the Apollo 14 mission in 1971, Shepard attached a 6-iron head to a tool and hit 2 golf balls on the lunar surface. The barycenter is the center of mass between 2 orbiting bodies. For Jupiter and the Sun, this point is actually just outside the Sun's surface, meaning Jupiter doesn't technically orbit the center of the Sun. The Alcubierre drive is a theoretical concept for faster-than-light travel. It involves warping spacetime by contracting space in front of a spacecraft and expanding it behind. It remains purely speculative. The first woman to walk in space was Svetlana Savitskaya. The Soviet cosmonaut performed a spacewalk in 1984 during her second mission to the Salyut 7 space station. The Great Void is another name for the Bodice Void. Discovered in 1981, this vast, nearly empty region of space was a surprise to astronomers who expected a more uniform distribution of galaxies. The first pizza delivered to space was in 2001. Pizza Hut paid the Russian Space Agency a reported $1 million to deliver a 6-inch salami pizza to cosmonaut Yuri Usachov on the ISS. The Drake equation is an argument to estimate the number of alien civilizations. It is a probabilistic formula that considers factors like the rate of star formation and the fraction of planets that could develop life to estimate the number of active communicative civilizations in the Milky Way. The Doppler effect is used to detect exoplanets. As a planet orbits a star, it causes the star to wobble. This can be detected as a slight shift in the star's light spectrum, revealing the planet's presence. Tardigrades are microscopic animals that can survive in the vacuum of space. These water bears were exposed to the vacuum and radiation of space on a 2007 mission, and many survived, proving their extreme resilience. The Pioneer anomaly was a long-standing mystery of 2 spacecraft slowing down. The Pioneer 10 and 11 probes were slowing down more than expected. The mystery was eventually solved and attributed to the subtle force of thermal radiation from the spacecraft. The first all-female spacewalk took place in 2019. NASA astronauts Christina Koch and Jessica Meir conducted the historic spacewalk outside the International Space Station to replace a faulty power controller. The Sunyaev-Zeldovich effect is a way to find galaxy clusters. When the cosmic microwave background passes through the hot gas in a galaxy cluster, it gets an energy boost. Telescopes can detect this distortion to map these massive structures. The axis of evil is an anomaly in the cosmic microwave background. Observations showed an unexpected alignment in the temperature fluctuations of the early universe, which challenges standard cosmological models. The NLEMMA is the figure-8 pattern the sun makes in the sky over a year. If you take a picture of the sun from the same spot at the same time of day throughout the year, the combined image will show this pattern. The first commercial filmed in space was for an Israeli milk company, Doptin. In 1997, a Tenuva milk commercial was filmed aboard the Russian Mir space station, featuring cosmonaut Vasily Tsibliev. A magnetar is a neutron star with an incredibly powerful magnetic field. The magnetic field of a magnetar is 1,000 trillion times stronger than Earth's. A Quakon 1 in 2004 released more energy in 1/10 of a second than the sun has in 100,000 years. Olber's paradox asks why the night sky is dark. If the universe were infinite and static, every line of sight should end on a star, and the night sky would be bright. The paradox is resolved by the finite age and expansion of the universe. Tabby's star shows unusual and extreme dimming events. The star's light has been observed to dip by as much as 22%, far more than a transiting planet could cause. The leading explanation is a massive orbiting cloud of dust.